Most people wake up and immediately find themselves reacting to life. Their phones are buzzing, the emails are piling up, the day is already sprinting ahead, and they haven't even had their first cup of coffee. But imagine this, it's 5 a.m. The world is still asleep. Outside everything is still, maybe even a little dark and cold. But in that quiet, in that solitude, something remarkable happens. You are awake, alert, and already moving forward, before the demands of the world even knock at your door. There is a unique power in starting early. When you rise at 5 a.m., you claim a piece of the day that most people overlook. This isn't about losing sleep, it's about taking control. It's about owning your time instead of being owned by it. The stillness of the early morning is not just physical silence, it's mental space, it's clarity. It's a blank canvas where you can choose how your day begins, instead of letting the chaos of the world paint it for you. At 5 a.m., there are no texts coming in, no news notifications trying to hijack your attention, no social media trying to pull you down a rabbit hole of distraction. It's just you, your thoughts, and the choice to do something intentional with that sacred window of time. That's when ideas come more freely. That's when you can think clearly without interruption, and that's when small, daily effort, reading, writing, stretching, visualizing, begin to stack into something much bigger over time. The beauty of starting early isn't just in what you do, it's in how it shapes you. When you consistently rise before the sun, you start feeling like you're one step ahead of the world, and over time that feeling builds. It becomes confidence. It becomes a quiet, calm sense of command over your own life. That's when you stop chasing the day, and the day starts moving in rhythm with you. People often say, "I'm just not a morning person," and I understand that. I wasn't born one either, but becoming the kind of person who gets up at 5 a.m. isn't about genetics or preference. It's about making a decision that says, I will show up for myself. I will put my goals ahead of my comfort. And once you cross that line, you start seeing mornings differently. You don't dread the alarm clock. You welcome it, because now it's not just waking you up. It's waking up your potential. Let me be clear. This habit is not about being busy. It's not about hustle culture or grinding until you burn out. It's about making space for what matters most. At 5 a.m., you have the freedom to invest in yourself before the rest of the world demands a piece of you. Maybe you write, maybe you stretch, maybe you go for a walk, listen to something inspiring, or simply sit in stillness and breathe. But whatever you do, you are living by design, not by default, and that changes everything. Think about the edge this gives you. While most are still tangled in sleep or snoozing alarms, you've already planted the seeds for a strong day. You've already accomplished something. That victory, small as it may seem, compounds. It bleeds into how you carry yourself, how you think, how you lead, and how you respond to challenges. You begin to operate from a place of calm intention, not frantic reaction. The truth is, the world doesn't reward the person who sleeps the longest. It rewards the person who gets up with purpose. It rewards the one who shows up early to their own life, not just in time to meet the expectations of others. And when you rise early, day after day, something else happens too. Your mind starts to believe you. It sees the proof. Yes, it says, we are someone who keeps our word. We are someone who shows up. And that trust in yourself, that's priceless. Many of you are waiting for the perfect moment to start something. Waiting for motivation, waiting for clarity, waiting for the conditions to be just right. But clarity comes from movement. Momentum comes from action. And motivation comes from watching yourself do the hard thing when it would have been easy to stay in bed. Every morning you beat the sun, you're telling yourself, I am in charge. I set the tone. I am not just existing. I am leading. That's what 5 a.m. is. It's not about the clock, it's about the commitment. The world belongs to those who prepare while others dream. Most people wait to feel motivated before they act. They tell themselves, once I'm inspired, once I feel ready, then I'll start. But life doesn't wait for you to feel ready. Growth doesn't knock on your door when you're in the mood for it. The truth is, success is never about motivation. It's about discipline, and discipline means doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Waking up at 5 a.m. is not glamorous. Let's be honest. There will be mornings when your bed feels warmer than your ambition, mornings when your excuses sound sweeter than your goals, and on those days, motivation will be nowhere to be found. That's when discipline steps in. That's when your decision to lead your life, not follow your feelings, makes all the difference. Discipline is the muscle that gets stronger every time you use it. It's not loud. It doesn't cheer for you. It just does the work, quietly, repeatedly, without applause, and yet it builds the foundation that everything else stands on. Discipline is what separates those who merely dream from those who actually build something. Some might say, but I want to feel inspired. I want to feel passionate about what I do. And of course, so do I. But waiting to feel inspired before taking action is like waiting for the weather to be perfect before you step outside. You'll miss too many days, you'll miss too many chances. You'll stay stuck in your head instead of getting out into the world and moving forward. The truth is, discipline often comes before inspiration. Action creates clarity. Progress feeds motivation. And nothing fuels belief in yourself more than the simple act of showing up, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. When you do what's necessary without needing a cheerleader, without needing the stars to align, that's when you start becoming unshakable. Let me give it to you plainly. Your comfort zone is not your friend. Your comfort zone wants you to sleep in. It wants you to skip the gym. It wants you to procrastinate, to overthink, to wait for the right time. But the life you're capable of living, the one filled with purpose, strength, and deep satisfaction, lies on the other side of that resistance. And discipline is the bridge. Every time you get up at 5 a.m., you're practicing the art of putting long, term gain over short, term comfort. You're telling yourself, I don't need to feel good to do good. And that shift in mindset. That's what sets people apart. While others are negotiating with themselves in bed, debating whether 5 more minutes will really hurt, you've already made the decision. You've already moved. That's the beauty of discipline. It's not a debate. It's a decision made in advance. You don't wait until the alarm rings to decide whether you'll get up. You don't wait until you're standing in the cold to decide whether you'll train. You decide the night before. You commit, and then you follow through, regardless of how you feel in the moment. That's power, that's leadership, that's freedom. Because here's the secret. Discipline doesn't restrict your life. It frees you. It frees you from regret. It frees you from inconsistency. It frees you from the trap of always starting over. When you become disciplined, you start trusting yourself. You stop breaking promises to the one person you should never betray, yourself. Most people don't lack potential, they lack consistency. They have flashes of motivation but no structure. They have dreams but no routines, and it's not because they're lazy. It's because they haven't trained themselves to act when it's inconvenient. But that's exactly when it counts the most. The person who builds the habit of doing hard things, regardless of mood, becomes unstoppable. Because once discipline is in place, success becomes a system, not a gamble. You don't rise at 5 a.m. for the sake of being early. You do it because it demands a version of you that refuses to compromise, a version that honors effort over excuses, a version that leads with action, not emotion. And that version, the disciplined one, is the version that changes your life. There will always be days you don't feel like it, but those days are opportunities in disguise. They are the moments that shape your identity, that forge your strength. When you act with discipline on the days you least want to, you are proving to yourself over and over that you are greater than your mood, your doubt, or your comfort. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark fades. When you begin waking up at 5 a.m., the next question becomes, what do I do with this time? Because it's not enough to just wake up early. What matters is how you use those precious, undisturbed moments before the rest of the world opens its eyes. That hour or two in the morning, if used with intention, can shape your mindset, your focus, and even your destiny. The early morning is your most powerful window to design the person you are becoming. Think about it. When you wake up early, your mind is clearer. The noise hasn't started yet. The distractions haven't arrived. Your energy is fresh, untouched by the demands of the day. That's not an accident. That's an opportunity. And what you do in that space, consistently, determines whether your life moves by intention or by default. A powerful morning doesn't need to be complicated. In fact, the best ones are simple, but they're built with purpose. They're crafted with rituals that energize you, align you, and remind you of who you are and what you're after. This isn't about mimicking someone else's routine. It's about creating your own, a rhythm that sets you up to win in your own world. Maybe it starts with movement, a short workout, a walk, some stretching, anything that reminds your body it's alive, capable, strong. Moving your body early activates something deeper than just your muscles. It awakens your drive. It shakes off the sleep and signals your mind that it's time to rise, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Then maybe it's followed by stillness, a moment of silence, a few minutes of focused breathing or journaling where you clear your head, where your thoughts spill out on paper so they don't cloud your judgment throughout the day. Some of the most successful people I've known didn't start their mornings scrolling or reacting. They started by turning inward. They listened before they spoke. They aligned before they acted. Your morning might include reading, not just the news, not gossip, but something that nourishes your thinking. A few pages of wisdom, a concept that challenges your perspective or deepens your clarity. That's where your mind grows. That's how you fill your mental reservoir before the day starts drawing from it. You put in fuel so that when life demands output, you have something real to give, and then there's planning, conscious, simple planning. Looking at your day not with anxiety, but with ownership, asking yourself, what matters most today? What's one thing I must move forward? And not 10 things, not everything, one, a single, clear commitment. That's where you cut through the noise and build momentum. That's how days turn into progress and not just busyness. Each of these rituals, movement, stillness, reading, planning, can be small, 10 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but done consistently, they create an internal architecture, a structure that holds you steady when things get chaotic. Because let's face it, life will get chaotic. Not every day will go according to plan. But if your mornings are anchored, you don't get swept away. You stay grounded. You stay aligned with your goals, your values, and your vision. The reason we build morning rituals isn't to add more to our to-do list. It's to become more deliberate with how we live. Because when you start the day with intention, you don't just get more done. You become more of who you're meant to be. You stop chasing clarity and start creating it. You stop reacting to the world and start directing your place in it. I've seen people try to race through the day without ever taking a moment to check in with themselves. They wonder why they feel scattered, drained, unfulfilled. It's because they never gave themselves space to think, to prepare, to breathe. That's what the 5 a.m. habit is all about. It's not about productivity for the sake of doing more. It's about peace, control, mastery, It's about starting your day from a place of strength rather than stress. You see, the difference between a life that grows and a life that repeats is often the morning, because how you begin your day becomes how you live your day. And how you live your day becomes how you live your life. That's not poetry, that's practice, that's design. So when you rise tomorrow, don't just wake up. Rise with purpose. Step into your morning not as a victim of time, but as the architect of it. Choose what you feed your body, your mind, your spirit. Craft a ritual that reminds you every single day that you are in command of your direction. Your morning is not a routine, it's a declaration. One of the most powerful truths I've learned is this: if you don't make time for yourself, no one else will. Life moves fast. There are bills to pay, deadlines to meet, people to take care of. From the moment you wake up, the world is already pulling at you: emails, calls, responsibilities. And if you're not careful, your entire day becomes a series of reactions. You move from one task to the next, giving and giving, until there's nothing left for you. That's why the early morning matters so much. At 5 a.m., the world is quiet. No one is asking for your attention, no demands, no distractions. Just you alone with your thoughts, your energy, your potential. That time is yours. And it might be the only time in the day that truly is. Most people don't realize how rarely they get to be with themselves. I'm not talking about being alone in a room. I'm talking about real presence, real attention, undivided time with your own mind, your own goals, your own growth. And when you start giving yourself that time, intentionally, consistently, something begins to shift. You stop feeling behind. You stop feeling lost in the noise. You begin to feel grounded, connected, in control. We live in a world that celebrates being busy. We're taught to measure our worth by how much we do, how many things we juggle. But I believe the most valuable thing you can do is give yourself space. Space to think, space to breathe, space to check in and ask, am I becoming who I want to be? You can't answer that question when you're running all day. You need stillness, you need a pause, and that pause is found in the early hours. When you reclaim your morning, you reclaim your power. You no longer start your day already behind, already overwhelmed. You begin from a place of alignment. Before anyone else gets a piece of you, you give something to yourself. Whether that's a walk, a journal, a workout, a prayer, it doesn't matter. What matters is the message you send to yourself. I am a priority. I am worth this time. This is not selfish. It's necessary. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and yet so many people do. They wake up late, rush through their mornings, dive headfirst into the chaos, and then wonder why they feel exhausted by noon. It's not the work that's draining them. It's the lack of intention. It's the absence of boundaries. It's giving to everything and everyone before giving to themselves. But when you rise early and spend that time wisely, you begin to operate differently. You walk into the day with calm, not chaos. You make better decisions. You speak with clarity. You carry a quiet confidence that others can feel. That comes from starting the day on your terms, not the world's. The beauty of 5 a.m. is that no one expects anything from you. It's a clean slate, a sacred pocket of time where you're not being a parent, a manager, a business owner, a student. You're just you, and in that space, you can reconnect with what truly matters. You can remind yourself of your values, your vision, your purpose. You can reset, and what you do in that space doesn't have to be grand. Some of the most powerful shifts come from the simplest acts. Drinking a glass of water and sitting in silence, writing down your thoughts before the world can clutter them, reading something that lifts you, moving your body even just a little. These aren't just habits. They are lifelines. They're how you stay centered when the world gets noisy. I believe we all need a place to come back to, a ritual that grounds us, a rhythm that reminds us we are not just workers, not just caretakers, not just problem solvers. We are human beings with inner lives that matter. The 5 a.m. hour gives you that. It gives you back to yourself, And once you experience that kind of clarity, that kind of peace, it's hard to go back. You start to crave it. You start to protect it, because you know what it gives you, not just for that morning, but for your entire day. You become less reactive, less rushed, more intentional, more alive. The rest of the world will keep moving fast. The demands won't stop. But when you've already poured into yourself, you don't meet the day from a place of depletion. You meet it from a place of overflow. And the most powerful version of you is the one who remembers to come home to yourself first. There's something most people never realize: your mindset, the way you think, the way you speak to yourself, the beliefs you carry, either becomes your greatest weapon or your greatest weight, and the early morning is the most powerful time to shape it. Because at 5 a.m., when the noise of the world hasn't crept in yet, your mind is open. It's more receptive, more impressionable. That's not a coincidence. It's a gift. It's when you have the chance to plant the thoughts that will guide the rest of your day, and in time, your life. You don't just rise early for the sake of discipline, or even productivity. You rise early to take command of your inner world, to train your mind before the outside world tries to influence it. Because make no mistake, if you don't direct your thoughts with intention, something or someone else will. The headlines will do it. The opinions of others will do it. The problems waiting in your inbox will do it. That's why it's critical to take ownership of your mental state first thing in the morning, before the distractions, before the demands, before the stress. You see, what you believe in those early hours becomes your foundation. If your first thoughts are rushed, anxious, or full of doubt, that energy follows you. But if your first thoughts are powerful, grounded in purpose, clarity, and confidence, you carry that energy like armor. It affects how you speak, how you make decisions, how you handle setbacks, and it all starts with the mental environment you choose to create the moment you wake up. That's why I've always emphasized what you feed your mind. Just like your body, your thoughts are shaped by what you consume, and the early morning is not the time for random noise. It's the time to be intentional, to fill your head with something that sharpens you. Something that reminds you of who you are, who you want to be, and what you're capable of. That could be a few pages of something timeless, a recording that stirs your soul, a moment of stillness where you ask yourself a powerful question and sit long enough to hear the answer. Whatever form it takes, the purpose is the same: alignment, because the most dangerous thing in the world isn't a lack of time or talent. It's misalignment. It's being busy but not effective. It's chasing success without peace. It's doing 100 things that don't move you an inch closer to what matters. And the only way to avoid that trap is to start your day with the kind of inner clarity that cuts through confusion like a blade. When I rise early, I don't just want to move my body. I want to shape my mindset. I want to decide in those quiet moments what kind of energy I'm bringing to the day, who I want to show up as, what I refuse to carry forward. That's how you create transformation, not through random bursts of inspiration, but through daily alignment with your highest self. Most people underestimate the power of self-talk, but let me tell you, how you speak to yourself when no one's watching determines everything. If you wake up and your first thoughts are, "I'm tired, I'm behind, I'm not ready," those words become your reality. But if you rise and choose different words, words of strength, words of gratitude, words of certainty, you begin rewriting your story from the inside out. That's what the early hour allows: not noise, but narrative; not reaction, but reprogramming. And it's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about reminding yourself every morning that you are not defined by what happens to you, but by how you choose to respond. That's power. That's freedom. That's what separates someone who drifts through life from someone who leads their life. Each morning, you have a decision. Let the world program you, or program yourself. Let fear shape your thinking, or let purpose do it. Let your past dictate your mindset, or let your future vision define it. That choice begins the moment you wake up, and when you choose wisely, day after day, you don't just build a routine. You build a mindset that's unshakable, because when your mind is right, everything else follows. Your habits improve, your confidence grows, your ability to stay calm under pressure, to push through resistance, to keep your word to yourself. It all flows from a strong, focused, resilient mind. And that's why I wake up early, not just to move my body or check a box, but to claim my mind before the world tries to claim it for me. There's something quietly powerful about watching the sun rise, about being awake while the world still sleeps. In those moments, there's a stillness, a calm that whispers something most people never stop to hear. Asterisk, this is your time. Asterisk, not borrowed, not demanded, yours. And that, my friend, is where true transformation begins. Because success is never built in chaos. It's carved out of quiet, consistent effort, and the 5 a.m. habit is not about waking up early just for the sake of it. It's about building the discipline to show up for yourself, again and again, before the world asks you to show up for anything else. Discipline is a word many misunderstand. They think it means restriction, suffering, rigidity, but in truth, discipline is freedom. It's the bridge between your goals and your reality. It's the proof that you mean what you say, that your dreams are more than just wishful thinking. When you rise before the rest of the world, you're not just getting a head start on your schedule. You're casting a vote for the person you are becoming. Every time you wake up at 5 a.m., when it would be easier to sleep in, you tell yourself, I keep my promises. And that changes everything. Consistency is where discipline becomes powerful. Anyone can wake up early once. Anyone can have a strong morning now and then. But it's the one who does it day after day, even when it's inconvenient, even when no one's watching. That's the person who builds a life others only dream of. Success is not an event. It's a pattern, and patterns are born in the quiet moments, not in the spotlight. Most people think breakthroughs come from big actions, but the truth is, breakthroughs are often hidden in repetition. In doing the right thing long enough for it to bear fruit. Waking up early might not feel like a grand act, but it's a statement. It's you deciding that your growth is worth prioritizing, that your goals matter more than your excuses. And that mindset spills into everything you touch, your work, your relationships, your health, your confidence. When you commit to the 5 a.m. habit, you're also committing to a higher standard for your life. You're saying, I will not coast, I will not wait, I will not let comfort rob me of my potential. Because comfort is a subtle thief. It convinces you to delay, it seduces you with justifications, and little by little, it pulls you away from the life you were meant to live. But discipline reminds you that every day is a chance to close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. And there will be days when it's hard. Days when your bed feels warmer than your vision. Days when your mind tells you that it doesn't matter, but that's when it matters asterisk most asterisk. That's when you strengthen the part of you that says, I don't need to feel ready, I just need to begin. Because the people who win in life aren't always the most talented or the most gifted. They're the ones who keep showing up. They're the ones who turn routines into rituals, effort into identity. This habit, this practice of rising early, it does something even more important than giving you time. It gives you evidence. It gives you proof that you are capable of doing hard things. And that belief, the belief that you are disciplined, consistent, and unstoppable, becomes the foundation for everything else. You start to trust yourself more. You stop negotiating with laziness. You stop entertaining doubt, because every early morning, every act of discipline, is another brick in the foundation of your character. And over time, that character becomes unshakable. Others will look at your results and call them luck. They won't see the mornings you rose before the sun. They won't see the days you showed up when no one clapped. But you'll know. You'll know that the life you're living didn't come from a single moment. It came from the decision to be consistent, to be disciplined, to choose growth over comfort. That is the quiet power of 5 a.m. It's not about the time on the clock, it's about who you become in the process.